on just a second. There we go. All right, it is Saturday night again. And this is the Saturday Night Mouse Party. And sorry, I'm just pinning a link for the poll, this week's poll. And there was a poll last week. So if you haven't voted in the polls, you can click on the link, go over there and vote. There is a chance that starting next month, the Mouse Party will move back to Wednesdays. I don't know for sure, and I kind of won't know until it happens. So it is possible that the Mouse Party will move back to Wednesdays, and then Saturdays will be every other Saturday with an overnight. Tonight we've got G-Webs, the Birdman of Arizona.
The Toucan of Tucson. Thanks for hosting.
DJ Play Nice. How's it going, DJ?
It's going well, man. Glad to be here.
And Gizzard Gary, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me, man.
Well, thank you for showing up.
You bet. For a change.
Guns and Barbecue.
Good evening.
How you doing?
I'm all right. You?
I'm doing all right.
Glad to hear it.
Are we going to be chatting responsibly tonight?
I don't know. Are we, Fuss?
Well, we'll start with dinner and then see where the night takes us.
Oh.
Ooh, I like that.
Out there is Sergeant Joe Smith, Wesley Foster, X-Adam 1, Hillbilly Up, Christopher Reed, Baron SVG, Gizzard Gary. Whoops. I'm clicking all over the place. I think that was everybody that said anything. If Woods and Ozzy Orsborn. There's a link in the description for the overnight Gilded server. Place to kind of hang out, chit chat, share memes, and you can get a hold of me there. And most of the people that come on the chats, you can get a hold of them through there. And let me get the banner going.
I was about to mention that.
There we go. Let me get the right one going. So at the bottom of the screen, there's an email address, untactfulfoss@gmail.com, and a link. You can send in comments, suggestions, pictures within reason. And if you watch this in replay, leave a comment. Anything we talk about, agree with, disagree with. Always happy to hear. Love the comments, and I always read them. They're always appreciated. So I think that's all our housekeeping there. So this week's poll was... let me call it up here. I had it up and then had to close it to do something. I have to go get it again. I think this is the right one. Do you have more digital or analog clocks in your home? And 52% said digital, 27% said analog, 1% said sundial. That's probably Woods. 19% said time is an illusion.
What's a clock? Wasn't an option?
No.
There's actually only one clock in my house. It's analog.
I prefer analog clocks, but I am a bit of a... I have chronomania slightly. Pretty much every room in the house has a clock.
Ooh, I like that.
There's one out here. There's one in the kitchen. That's not including, the appliances, but there's an analog clock there. There's one in the family room. There's one in the office. There's one in the bathroom. There's one in the upstairs bathroom. There's one in the mariner's room. That's a spare bedroom that I keep all my memorabilia stuff in.
Sounds like an epic room.
There's one in the master bedroom. There's one in the walk-in closet. There's one in the master bedroom bathroom. There's, I know there's at least one more somewhere. My son's bathroom. And then, like in the master bedroom, I've got my alarm clock. Then my wife has one on her side. I got a lot of clocks.
Dude, the chronomania might be the word for it. I got a question though. You got any walk-in closets that you put a clock in?
Yeah, for my wife. So when she would get ready, she could go in there, get changed and stuff, and then know what time it was.
Well, I was trying to kid you, and that's the truth. That's amazing. Right on, man. Like when you have an appointment for something or somebody invites you to dinner or to meet them or something, do you show up like 15 minutes early? Is this part of like an anticipation of needing to be somewhere?
Yes, I'm always early.
Okay.
I cannot
How's
stand.
your wife feel about that?
It's a little annoying to her because I cannot stand. I get upset when I'm late, even if it's an arbitrary set time. I prefer to be 10, 15 minutes early. If I'm picking somebody up from the airport, I'll be like half an hour early. You never know if their flight comes in early. Make sure I can get parking. So what about you guys? Are you clockwise?
Being early, that's respectful for the other people that are taking time out of their whole lives to do whatever it is you're doing together. So, yeah, being early is on time.
Yep. I really don't like being late anywhere. Prefer to be, especially if it's something super important, like, much rather be early. Like, if there's extenuating circumstances, things happen, but as a whole,
I want to add to my thing. I like to be early, but yet be responsibly early.
Responsible.
right?
Hancho Fett's up there. How's it going, Hancho? How you been? Let's take a look at the comments. Fiend Dog said, but prefer analog. I don't know if there was another part of his comment and he was adding to it. Hang on. Let me... On the comments, if I don't go to newest first, sometimes there's comments that don't show up. But
I like sundial with Roman numerals.
it's reliable as long as the sun's out. Krabby Turtle said, I love getting on ladders once a year to change out batteries. Fiend Dog said, but prefer analog. Michigan 4 Conservative, the digitals have taken the lead. The coffee maker and the microwave have moved the numbers to take over the mechanical movements, unless we count wristwatches. Two Live Moo, I have an analog display on my iPad. Does that count as analog? And I said yes, I'll allow it. Gizzard Gary said, I had digital until a couple months ago, and then a big digital clock with temperature, weather in my living room quit working. I replaced it with a big analog clock that my daughter used to have in her office. I really like analog clock better. It's just more classy looking and old school. Plus, it will confuse the millennials who come to visit. I prefer analog. Defense Dad said clocks, digital, watches, analogs. I have 16 watches. I have a bunch. Not that much, but I have a bunch of watches too.
Plus, my battery-powered analog clock, when the power goes out, I don't have to reset it. It just keeps going for some reason.
Exactly.
And Hillbilly said only one digital here besides phones and PC. I like old school when it comes to clocks. A grandfather clock and a great grandfather clock always lets us know the time.
That's one of the things I was going to ask about. Do you have a grandfather clock, Plus?
I don't. I like them. I would love to have one, but it wouldn't fit.
I would
the
love to have one as
decor.
well. I'm not even worried about fitting decor because, well, I just batch it up. I don't have to worry about, a woman's touch to my place. I just have stuff that I like, and it's nice that way. But it's just those things are so big and they take up so much room. At this point, like when the kids are old enough to move out and stuff, like I'll have more room, and at that point, I'll probably get a grandfather clock. But until then, I don't have the room for one.
Well, my grandfather's clock was too tall for the shelf, so it stood 90 years on the floor. Anyone? Nobody? Nobody? All
I
right.
figured if I wanted a grandfather clock, I'd talk to the gun snob and see if he had a spare one because he's a grandfather now.
Like it.
Midget with carrot cakes out there. Good evening.
Carrot cake.
Ooh.
Oh. Just going back through the comments, some college sports ball talk out there.
Yeah, no mention of Washington State for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know if they won or lost.
They did not win. To the extreme.
Oh. Oh yeah. 44-6, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah,
They
it was not.
they started out strong, and then it's kind of their thing. Once they got into conference play, they started to struggle. And in the coming years, when all the other colleges leave the Pac-12 and it's down to the Pac-4,
Right?
we'll see what happens. Oh,
You can always merge with the WAC.
I'm not sure what they're gonna do. I don't know. But Honcho Fett said time is an illusion. Sergeant Joe Smith said, I learned with customers, never show up late.
Probably a good rule of thumb.
X out of one.
Didn't they used to say fashionably late back in the day?
Hell
Well,
yeah, Gary, and I am all about the fashionably late thing. I mean, I get the being respectful. If it's like an airport pickup, or it's a hard start, or it's my shift, that kind of thing, I'll do that. But fashionably late, man, I really enjoy that. I don't like the rush into something. I also don't like the preliminaries, the boring parts of them kind of deal. And I'll use an example of, say, like a club show and there are 4 bands. Unless I really, really want to see the first band, I'm not showing up until deep in the second. Kind of deal. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful for those creating art, in the presence before my own, sort of deal. But sometimes it's just to clear out, stuff, have people be settled, kind of thing. And then there are joints where I open up the door and I take about a 5-second pause after I come in because I want people to know I'm there.
Or you show up fashionably late to Tony Simon's event in Nebraska.
Yep.
Fashionably be late, being 45 minutes before it ends.
Yeah.
So you make a flamboyant entrance. That's what you said.
On occasion. I mean, I don't take a deep bow at the waist or announce myself necessarily, but yeah, I mean, every once in a while, it's also so I can check the room. Like, it's not just like here.
He's wearing boas and walking in real slow. Has a person in front of him, has a small desk fan blowing on him.
Yeah, the Barry Manilow Copacabana night. But like, I do want to assess who's in the room, and I'm thinking specifically of a club called the Down Under. When I walk in there, I scan the entire place because sometimes it can be sketchy. So it's like I want to know who's there, and it's not like a complete and total evaluation in a self-defense way. I'm coming off a discussion with barbecue, so I got a lot of stuff still floating in my head. But yeah, I like to check the room, and I like people also sometimes to know I'm there. And there is a little ego in there, boss. There really is.
Honcho only relies on atomic clocks.
I like atomic wings.
I like barbecue wings. I don't like hot sauce.
Why do you have my wings?
Smoke them if you got them.
Ozzy said I'm always late. Some things are worth waiting for. And Hillbilly, no sense to be early unless there's beer and food involved. I don't know. I prefer to get there and then wait. It's kind of it can be a pain. Like I got upset one time because we were late for something, so I set all the clocks 10 minutes early in the house. So we would show up 10 minutes before anything opened. And I kind of got annoyed. Got tired of waiting, getting somewhere and then having to wait. So the clocks are now only 5 minutes early.
I do that in the clock that's sitting. It's a digital that sits right in front of me right now, and the one in the car also. But those are the only two that I do that retard the timing kind of thing. But it does help because I tend to be slow at things and showing up. I can relate.
It does annoy my wife because, anytime we're going to go somewhere, I'm standing at the door, for like 5 minutes waiting for her. And she doesn't. She finds that annoying that I'm standing there because, it's not time. We don't have to go yet. It's like, well, I'm ready. Let's go. And then I try to be a little more conscious of that because there was one time we were going to a Mariners game and I like to get there when the gates open, and we were running a little late. I was sitting in the car waiting for her. She jumps in the car and I start backing out so we can go, and apparently she was not all the way in the car when I started backing out. And so after she yelled at me about that, then I try to keep it a little more under control and not worry about it so much.
You got to get to batting practice. That's like 3 hours before the game. Like, if you miss batting practice and everything after, that's just unacceptable. Like, I completely understand the rush there. It's her fault.
Yeah, well, the going to a game with my wife is she has to go to the bathroom before we go. She has to go to the bathroom when we get there. She'll go a few times while we're there, and then she has to go before we leave, and then she goes when we get home. So that's I'll when you're trying to leave, a ball game and you've got, it's a Mariners game. I haven't been to a Mariners game in years now, but it would be because they usually aren't very good. And the crowds hadn't been that big, but I have to remind her about the 8th inning. Hey, go to the bathroom. That way we're not stuck in the crowd when she goes to the bathroom.
Especially in arenas, outdoor shows a little bit less. I will anticipate the end of a band's set list, and whether or not they do encores, and almost every band does. So in that break between the set and the encore, I'm walking out, and I will stand in the wings, so to speak, like one of the portals into an arena, or outside. I'm just like, I'm at the top of the hill or whatever it is. I'm ready to split because I loathe being stuck behind the bovine response that people have to getting through gates when there are more than, two abreast kind of thing. It just, man, the annoyance is so high with that. So I just try to avoid it, do what I can.
Yeah, on the whole, I don't like the big crowds, but like for the baseball game, the experience is so much better with a big crowd.
Mm-hmm. Agree.
So I was going to say I suffer
Yes.
it, but and
Yep.
Woods brings up the Rainiers. That's the AAA team.
Watching baseball games on.
Oh, go ahead, Barbecue.
Oh, I wasn't sure if I was muted. I was like, oh. I was just saying, I hate watching baseball on TV. Like, it's all right, but as a whole, watching baseball on TV, it's like watching paint dry for the most part. But something about being there at the ballpark and just the whole atmosphere is just a totally different animal.
Agree. I don't see many baseball games. We no longer have the farm team that we did for the Kansas City Royals. We do have a different league team here in town, but football games, that's the way I can relate to that. Being in Husker Memorial Stadium, 70,000 people sold out consecutively for decades kind of thing. That is a transcendent experience. But Foss, I got a question, and I'm not trying to pinch you down to a detail you might not have, but about how big is the ballpark there? Is that one of those where you got like 40,000 people?
Oh, shoot.
It's a
I
big
don't
one.
remember.
I can look it up.
God. I'm thinking it was. Yeah, no, I don't know. I was thinking 25,000.
Right, I am on the case. And when it comes to baseball, the way that I kind of tend to enjoy it, if I'm not at the game itself, is on the radio. And I'm the same with football games. If I'm not in Lincoln to see a game, see the Huskers play, I'm listening to it on KLIN. I actually like to listen to it on AM radio. Same kind of thing with somebody calling a ball game, especially
What?
announcers. Go ahead.
Well, Woods said 45,000.
Oh, right on. Yeah, ooh, that's damn good size.
Let's say I'm kind of fortunate with my geographic location. I've got about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes to go watch the Indians or Guardians. That just makes me want to throw up still. And I realized people were like, "Oh, it's like the most racist character." It was a caricature, and like if you know why they're named the Indians, they had the first 3 Native American ball players in professional baseball. Like, yeah, so disappointing. Anyways, sorry. So I'm in, like I said, hour and a half, hour 45 minutes, depending on who's driving to that ball field. I will still call it Jacobs Field because that's the only name for it. Although, people that pay attention to like Progressive Field, no, it's not Progressive, it's Jacobs. Bite me. But then I'm an hour and a half from PNC, so I can go watch either. But having been in Jacobs Field, because it's not a newly built ballpark, I really like that ballpark. There's something about it, the way it's laid out, really awesome. And then up in Erie we have the Erie Seawolves, which is the, I think, AA affiliate of the Detroit Tigers. So
Yeah, for the Mariners, their AAA team is in Tacoma, which is like 45 minutes south of Seattle. So it is fun. It's not as what's the one in Omaha?
Well, which one are you talking about? Are you talking about the ball field that no longer exists, or are you talking about the new ones?
Well, the minor league team, the one that, or no, not Omaha. I'm thinking of Minnesota. They're, it's not quite as fun as there's a Minnesota minor league team that they've got. They do a lot of fun stuff. Like everybody knows what you're supposed to do. Like what it's like the first three batters of the opposing team, when they get announced, the whole crowd will say, "Who?" And they've got like a hot tub and like exercise machines and stuff like that. It's not the Rainiers don't quite have that, but there is something to kind of the small park, a little more intimate.
Agree.
Yep.
I really like the structure that was our baseball stadium. It's gone. It was a lot like, I got to see a major league. I got to see two games actually at Comiskey Park before it was torn down. So like 1989, I'm there. I get to see the White Sox play, and oh my goodness, some of those old ball fields, the way that the open structure that they had, like iron girders and whatnot, kind of thing. It's crazy to be in something that old, feeling like, if you could go up in flames or fall down in pieces. But what an incredible feeling when they talk about the roar of the crowd, and you get that. That's awesome. I dig it.
Well, we had the old stadium was the Kingdome, which sucked. It's T-Mobile Field now, but where the Mariners played, their stadium, there is no bad seat. I mean, it's a modern ballpark, so it has better design. It has a roof that opens, but there's a part. It's kind of hard to describe, but there's still a big section that's open, which kind of sucks when it rains. But on a sunny day, they can open the roof, and then it's like an outdoor stadium.
Yeah, there are benefits to like the newer ways that stadiums are put up, but Barbecue was touching on something that I am pretty vehement about too, and that's the renaming thing. Like, oh my God, the tradition that comes with it, and all of a sudden, corporate naming comes in to be a deal. Now, if a team needs an injection of $2 million or whatever that they're bidding minimum or whatever for that, I kind of get it. But all the home team fans, like almost to a person, they don't dig that. I certainly don't. We went from having Rosenblatt Stadium, named for Johnny Rosenblatt, and now the new one is called Charles Schwab Field. AT&T. Gary, he's got the Sprint Center in Kansas City. Like, seriously, with all these corporate names, it loses the flavor.
That's a T-Mobile Center, by the way.
Oh, see, the Sprint, and they renamed it because T-Mobile subsumed them. You know what? Fuck corporate America.
That's what happened with the Mariners. Is they were Progressive Stadium, and then once that contract ended, T-Mobile took over. Now it's T-Mobile Stadium. But and it's kind of like it reminded me of the bowl games. Like the Kraft Fight Hunger Bowl.
Agreed. The Chick-fil-A Bowl, all the sponsorships, when it goes away from the sugar, the cotton, the orange, the rose, all of those kind of things. I get you with that one too. Yeah, for sure.
Wesley Foster's out there saying, when my late 98-year-old dad was a kid, Boston had Red Sox, Braves, and Black Sox.
Wow.
And M. Gabriel, I can't remember if I said hey, but hey. Sergeant Joe Smith is 3 hours away from the nearest pro team, the Royals and the Chiefs.
Hey, he and I are about equidistant to KC then, because I'm 3 hours down Interstate 29 to go pick up something there. Gary, how close are you to what's your KC commute in time?
To the city proper, about an hour and a half.
He gets to split it. Right on.
Gunmetal Guy, USA's out there.
I mean, I can be in the suburbs in a little over an hour.
Rock. Oh, and I looked up Rosenblatt Stadium because it's now been torn down. I wanted to see if there are any interesting factoids, and Wiki gave me this, and then I'll shut up. Rosenblatt Stadium was the largest minor league baseball stadium in the United States until its demolition. I did not know that. We are also host both there and at the blah blah field for the College World Series. So come and visit.
Oh, I think I said Progressive. It was not Progressive. It was Safeco Field.
What's Safeco? Is that an insurance company or something?
Yeah, it's an insurance company.
Yeah,
Progressive
is
Field's
where
in Cleveland, isn't it?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's where the Indians play now.
Well,
they played there for years. No,
not
it's
Indians.
but I'm gonna call them
The
Indians
Guardians.
because- Nope. Still, I've got movies called Major League that clearly show they're the Indians.
I kind of get why they're pandering, but I don't like it. It kind of disgusts me when that goes on. And you give a good example, Barbecue. If you don't know the reason why in the hell are you making it go away? And Foss, I'm not trying to railroad wherever we were going to go with this, but I also think, and Barbecue and I have talked about it, Uncle Ben's rice. They took Uncle Ben off the package. And that was a salute to him and his family. Kind of thing. Aunt Jemima's gone. I sort of get that, kind of thing. But then they took away the Lando Lakes girl on my butter package. She was cute.
No, especially Uncle Ben. That was a shame.
Yep.
Sergeant Joe Smith said Indians almost changed to the Spiders. They were the Spiders in the late 1800s, early 1900s, something like that.
Yeah.
Wesley Foster's asking, is there a slug barrel for a Maverick 88? Does anybody know?
Honestly,
Woods is going to know. Where is he?
I think you probably just get a slug barrel for 500.
Yeah, any of the 500 barrels will fit the Mavericks.
Was that the last of the clock comments that you got on the poll? Roll
Oh,
through those.
Somehow we went from clocks to baseball park. I'm not sure.
It was the Mariners' room. Foss, your dedication to your team got us sidetracked. Love it.
It's the world's weirdest rabbit hole.
yeah, I gotta find that page.
Love it.
Never know where the mouse party's going to go to.
It's live.
I think your comment was the only one that. Whoops. I noticed. Yours was the only one I didn't read. Was had to add phones, and that broke the bank.
Mm-hmm.
So I only missed one comment on that.
My exclusion makes me feel, I don't know, lesser. I'm messing with you, man.
Yeah, I will look at work. I wear a smartwatch, but that's so I can get messages from my boss without having to look at my phone. But I'll look at the time and then know that I looked at the time, but I'll be compelled to look to see what time it is again. And then a few minutes later, I'll know that I had just looked at the clock and I kind of know what time it is. But while I'm at work, because there's certain things I have to have done by a certain time, I'll look at my watch again. Are you into watches? Or I have a few, but that was kind of once I collect one thing, then I'll tend to collect a bunch of things, thing. So I saw a watch that I thought was kind of nice, and I picked up a watch, and then I picked up a few more watches.
I have a thing for G-Shock watches. I actually
Those are
have,
nice.
yeah, I've actually got a fairly expensive one that I plan on giving away on the channel at some point. I just haven't figured out how I want to do it yet.
My grandfather owned a jewelry store for a while, and that's where my father learned clock and watch repair. And then Dad actually had a job where he repaired clocks as part of his responsibilities, though it was a completely different business than that. And so I kind of got the bug from him. You know, he gave me gave me my first watch, and actually the son of a bitch gave me my first watch when he announced that he and my mom were divorcing that day in the park. So that was my first watch, was the Timex that he slapped on my wrist, try to make things better or whatever. But there's only one watch that I'm sorry. I was also going to add that because he could do the repairs, I used to go out and buy like bags of watches. Like say at the Goodwill, all their donated watches, they kind of chuck in a bag and sell them for a flat price. So $20-$40 bags, and we cull through them. And, there wasn't ever anything that was really great, but he has the one watch that I absolutely want. And it's because it's his, but it's also because it's super cool. It's an Omega, the Speedmaster. In 1969, they did one as the Moonwatch edition. And it's one that the astronauts wore, sort of deal. He has one of those. It also has on the back plate of it his first 2 solo flights when he was becoming a pilot. So that's kind of like a special touch on it. I used to kind of lean towards pocket watches, but that was just affectation. So I stopped. That's what I got.
Pocket watches.
I had one in high school, I think. My mom bought me one, and it got lost over the years. My favorite watch I have is a WSU watch. Back in 70 or 71, I think, part of the stadium, the bleachers burned down. So they had a fundraiser, and they gave a watch to some of the bigger donors. And it's like I can't remember if it's 12 jewel or 16 jewel watch. It's an automatic watch. And I happened to come across it on eBay and
Whoa, nobody needs that many jewels. And who needs an automatic watch? The Army?
It's I don't wear it very often, but I've got one of those watch spinners to keep it wound. And it had a problem where it would stop if I wasn't wearing it. If it wasn't moving around, it would stop. And I took it to a couple different watch shops, and the first one cleaned it but couldn't figure it out. Second one, they ended up, it was almost a year, and he found another movement to fit it. And I spent like as much as I spent on the watch just to get it fixed, which was way more than I should have spent, but I wanted it to work.
Or sometimes you got to chase that, man. If you got the motivation, you wince a little bit at the price tag. But yeah, I get it. I've done that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's, I sort of I was there at WSU. I took some classes, but I took classes because I was kind of there. I didn't go there to take classes. It's kind of a whole thing. But I met my wife there. So there's, for us, Pullman, Washington is a special place out in the middle of the wheat fields. Yeah, none of my watches are that's probably the most expensive one.
When you're walking in a wheat field like that, how do you deal with the gluten?
Hold your breath.
Hold your breath. Start wading through it.
Like my got a couple Seikos. One's titanium, which is really nice, and then I've got basically the stainless steel version of that. My wife bought me because I kept breaking. I would buy like $6-8 Walmart watches for work, and I kept breaking them. So she bought me a nice watch, and I had that for at least 10 years, and then she bought me the titanium version, which was nice because it's so much lighter. Exit M1.
That sounds awesome.
I really wanted to get a Tissot watch, 2,500, another is 1,400. Ended up paying rent instead. Yeah, there are some. When you get into looking at the high-end watches, there are some incredible watches that to me they kind of seem like artwork where it's a place to shelter your money. They get traded between rich people. It's a way to move money around. Like have you seen like the Bugatti watch?
Yep.
The V12 engine on it with the pistons and gears and oh god.
All right, that sounds
Yeah,
pretty
it's no doubt. No doubt.
Can somebody get Dean Foss a towel?
I'm all right.
Okay.
Like the most expensive, it's not even a great timepiece really, but from the late 80s, if anybody remembers Swatches, like they were like a popular thing at the time, so they were kind of spendy, but now some of them could just be ridiculous. And my deceased brother was into Swatches for a while, and so every once in a while I will don one of his watches, and I just like the creativity they had in that line. I really dug Swatch watches. But I feel you, man, on the more expensive watches. That Omega that I mentioned, it's about a $8,000 watch, which I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, it was stupid money when he got it, but like to wear, I just don't have that kind of drip. $6,000 on my wrist. I have no way to relate to that yet. I said yet.
I had a roommate that he was telling me back when he in high school. Him and his friend went to Spokane, Washington. They lived over around Spokane, but his friend was wearing his father's shit. Now I forgot the name. Watches
Rolex?
for me. Rolex. Thank you.
Rolex? Yep.
Was wearing his father's Rolex, and a group of young men came along and said, "Hey, that's a nice watch," and left with his friend's watch. So it's kind of. I would be nervous to wear an expensive watch out.
Yeah, I have a quick story, an anecdote to relate. I had a friend of mine in college. He got me a spot when he was going down to Ottumwa, Iowa. Yep, home of Radar, O'Reilly, to judge debate. And I was able to judge debate that day. And he went into a fresh room because it would be like, this classification is debating here, and they're moving to this room to do this and that. He came into a room, and he didn't have any scruples about this, but somebody had left, likely one of the judges, their Rolex, and he pocketed the damn thing. But like, that's the only experience that I had with somebody actually thieving a watch. It'd be weird to have to strip your watch and your necklace and whatever off if somebody was going to jack you. I wouldn't want to deal with that.
Thank you, Larry. Somehow the banner had disappeared.
Have you ever seen the movie Pulp Fiction?
Of course.
There's a theme in one of the stories in that movie, I believe, where the guy does a thing with a watch in order to keep the watch through some tough times. So what happened is I seen that movie, and then every time I got threatened or scared, I would put my watch into this place so that I wouldn't have to worry about it getting stolen. And after a while, I stopped wearing a watch because it just got too awkward and difficult because I get scared too often.
Yeah, it was Christopher Walken's character who was relating the story. And that's towards the end. That's where Bruce Willis's character, he has to go back because his girlfriend didn't get the watch from the kangaroo at the bedside table. But it's a great story if you've never heard it. Go ahead and check that out.
I don't know if I'd say great.
It's
An interesting
like a Lance
Story.
Yeah, there we go.
So, confession. My watches, I think I've got one G-Shock that I can kind of tell the time on if I hit the backlight and it's dark out. But otherwise, I can't see the display on any of them. I've thought about going to analog for my G-Shocks, but the batteries just don't last. So I'm like, eh. But
Hey, Barbecue, I
So
had a
the whole-
quick question for you. Since your blindness, do you have like a talking clock or something like that, or do you just get really close to something that tells time?
no, I have a cell phone that I can just enlarge the time on.
Okay.
Let's say this is 2023. But no. So when I decide to wear a watch, still, I'm normally going to something somewhat important, and I purely wear it just because of the perception that it still gives, that you're punctual, things like that.
I don't wear watches hardly ever, other than work. Like I said, the smartwatch for work. I just after I started carrying a smartphone, that became my watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was a conversion point for me too. I gave up I didn't wear watches for a bunch of years, basically because I didn't want to have, a wrist dictator looking at me all the damn time. The phone
Why do you have a
adaptation.
tater
Got it.
there? You shouldn't have a tater there. Watch that.
It's a line from a
Um,
poem.
But no, I like you guys know about some of the woes that I've had to go through with my ex recently, and custody crap, all that fun jazz. So whenever we'd have to go into court, I'd always make sure I was wearing a watch. Again, just that perception of punctuality, things because again, I like Foss just said, I don't really ever wear a watch that often anymore because my smartphone does the job just fine. But when I'm going to something important, in this case, court, I was always making sure that I had a watch on and just that presentation.
Like wearing pants.
Oh no, you go to court Porky Pig, and what are you talking about?
And a tie. It's kind of it's still those are the vestiges of proper male attire kind of thing. Having a
100%.
pocket square, and a watch, and whatever else kind of thing. And I'm glad that some of us still carry some of those older traditions. That's nice to know that they won't disappear.
It blows me away because with the way they do those court things, everybody's herded in there like cattle, and you're just sitting there waiting for your turn and all that. It amazes me how many people just show up in blue jeans and a polo shirt, which fine, that works if you don't got anything else. It's better than t-shirt. But like when my attorney saw me, she's like, "Oh wow, look good." I was like, "Thanks." I went out, bought a new suit, new tie, the whole 9 yards. I was like, I'm gonna make an impression. First
No doubt.
impressions matter. So when I go and have to sit down in front of a mediator or judge, and we're dealing with any matters pertaining to my kids, I want to make a good first impression.
Yeah.
Well,
How
yeah.
many people? Sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say for court, that is kind of a thing where the judges can get upset if they feel you're disrespecting the court, and that attire is a thing that if that they look at.
Yeah, society as a whole does as well. You are judged by what it is that you wear. I'm band concert T-shirts and whatever else, but I've got a half a dozen, suits in my closet. And that's another thing. Most people these days, they don't even own suits. I mean, unless they got married in one, or that it was a funeral. A lot of people don't wear suits at funerals anymore unless they're family, kind of thing. So you don't get one for graduation. If you don't get married or go to a formal funeral, you don't got a suit, kind of thing. So people just don't. It's not part of. It's not a part of what people wear commonly. And Barbecue mentioned the
You can
polo
rent
shirts.
suits, just like you can rent tuxedos.
You're right. You're right. Barbecue mentioned polo shirts. Dress casual really took over. I mean, khakis and polo shirts. Now that's considered to be professional or semi-professional attire. Yeah, I get it. I'm cool with that, though.
Business casual.
Yep, business casual.
I
But
don't own a suit.
I'm okay with people that have
Um,
watches and people that wear watches, and even people that, like, let's say somebody walks up and says, "Do you know what time it is?" And then you just go ahead and tell that person what time it is. If you're willing to do that responsibly.
Why you just tell them it's time to get ill?
Nice.
I say. I saved $110 on my suit by flirting with a gay guy at Boscov's. And I'm not afraid to admit that because I saved $110. Friggin', I was there with my buddy and his boyfriend. By the way, because the barbecue isn't gay, just my buddy had come out of the closet a few years ago, and now, like, hey, that's his thing. Cool. And after my ex pulled all of her crap, he's like, Mom and I are coming to get you. We're going to kidnap you for the day. I was like, all right, cool. I was like, well, I need to go get a suit anyways. And they're like 10 minutes from Boscov's. I was like, let's go to Boscov's. And he's like, cool. So it was just ironic that a gay guy came up to help us while I'm there with two gay dudes. And like, they're cracking jokes and stuff. I'm like, all right, screw it. One in Rome. And so the guy that was helping, find the suit, because he's like, what are you looking for? I was like, whatever is going to give me the best bang for my buck. If the suit, I was like, it's not necessarily about the price, but I want a good suit as cheap as I can get. And so he showed, like, we got this, we got that. And he's like, oh, these ones are like $85.99 or something like that. He's like, they're on clearance. I was like, cool. And he's like, what size are you? It's like, I don't have a clue. I was like, I've never been fitted for a suit in my life. So tried on a couple jackets. Next thing you know, I'm trying on the suit, come out, and he's like, what do you think? I was like, fits good. I think it's a winner. He's like, yeah, one problem. He's like, I accidentally misread the sign. That suit's actually like $190. I was like, oh. I was like, well, that's all right. I was like, I only plan on having to wear this once, maybe twice, and then hopefully by the end of the year I'll have lost a bunch of weight and I'll be out of it anyway. So I was like, I can't spend $200 on a suit that I'm only going to wear a couple times, but thank you for your help. And he takes it, and like 5 minutes later he comes back over. He's like, great news, I can give the suit to you for the $85.99. I was like, huh? He's like, oh yeah, I just had to go ask. I was like, oh snap. But just because cracked a couple jokes, made the guy feel comfortable, I was like, whatever, I'll take it.
Let
Did
me
you
warm
get
up
his
these
number?
hands. See how much discount we can get.
No, I'm trying to remember what the heck my buddy said, because I just cracked a joke off of it, and he said something, and I just mentioned, giving the guy a tip, and then I was like, oh, that I should watch mentioning tips, as like that can be taken in a whole different context in this situation.
Oh, Jesus.
That's
the
the
tip.
first thing. Yeah, because the guy was being very helpful. Like, yeah, slip the guy $5. Thank you for your time. Cool. But then when I said that, I was like, I'm surrounded by 3 gay dudes right now. It's like, giving a tip, that could have a different connotation here. I was like, ugh. And then
Guns and Barbecue, ex-Adam. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's when I was like, you know what? One in Rome, whatever. Because, again, I'm secure in my sexuality. I don't care. And like I said, it saved me $110 on a suit, so that's a win.
And ex-Adam 1 is out there saying, Guns and Barbecue, I want the best. He says, I want the best suit for a dirt cheap price. The sales associate
Yes.
says there's a Goodwill down the street, and you did actually source part of your uniform at Goodwill.
Oh yeah, I went
The
and checked
shoes.
out Goodwill, Salvation Army. Oh yeah, I got the shoes at Goodwill. They were $2, and then they fell apart.
Single use.
No, I wore them twice.
Both.
Yep. Sorry, Foss. I
So
didn't mean to
when's-
take over your show with my thriftiness.
And
Oh, no.
when's the bracket? We having a bracket? What's with it this week?
Oh no, there's not a bracket. We had to put it off. I left it out in the car, so it got moldy. So I have to
Was
get
it Cerakote, mold,
back
and how
in?
many other
I was
ways?
worried.
It's just been, yeah. Oh my god. That's funny.
I was worried that when we used your bracket on Tuesday that it wasn't going to get back to you in time. I'm glad that they made it back. I'm really sorry that the mold grew on it in the shipment process.
I just need to get the bleach and clean it up. Yeah, I don't own a suit. I have, some nice dress pants, which I'm sitting here trying to remember what material they are. 'Cause they feel great.
Mm.
Spandex.
No.
Corduroy.
It's God.
Feels fabulous.
It's natural fiber?
Yeah.
So you're talking like alpaca or something like that?
No.
Okay. Because alpaca feels really good. I'm gonna go to my closet and look and see here.
Yeah, I cannot remember what it is. But yeah, I'll if I dress up, I have a suit jacket. I'll wear
Quarter.
like a sweater vest or a sweater with a tie, but not. I don't have a suit.
You know, G-Web's mentioned earlier, you can rent a suit just like you do a tux. Does anybody have a tuxedo?
No.
I have 4.
You can also just go to a thrift shop and buy stuff that's, previously owned, and that can be, cooler, trendier, hipper,
Cashmere.
vintage.
I have cashmere
Gotcha.
socks. They are so comfortable. They're
Mhm.
It is cashmere.
Makes me think of Led Zeppelin, different spelling. Yeah, I love vintage. I mean, G might have been like poking towards that. I love vintage wear, and I have like I said, I got a couple of tuxedos. It is fun as fuck to put on a tuxedo and like go to a movie, or to go out to dinner or something like that. And these are formal, cummerbund, and like all the whole 9 yards. Ruffle. I got a ruffle shirt from the '70s. That's great.
It's great if it's done responsibly. If there's reckless use of a tuxedo, that's the problem with society today.
Yep.
Yeah, the only time I've worn 3 times. One was homecoming in high school. Then when my friend got married, and then when I got married.
Hmm.
They were all
Like
rented.
my high school experience, we had everything but the jacket for things like show choir. So I got used to wearing the bow tie thing starting when I was a freshman.
I think it would be okay if you took some sort of formal etiquette training, and so you knew what every piece of silverware was, for example.
Emily Post, read the book. Yep, I got it.
X Adam 1 wants to know what gun do you carry with a nice suit on, and how do you carry it?
If you're
Foss has got the right answer.
AR-15.
Obviously, PPK.
Bing.
AR-15.
If you're going to the courthouse, usually go sans gun. It's kind of frowned
Yep.
upon.
Ghost gun.
Yeah. One of those ceramic Glocks.
Mm-hmm. Glock 9 or
Oh,
Glock
shit.
7. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I think shoulder. Like if you're wearing a sport coat, I would say that's time for a shoulder rig
100%.
kind of deal. Yeah,
Shoulder. I was gonna say shoulder rig or a very nice leather OWB.
Tuxedo pants don't have belts on them.
Mine do. Oh
Mine didn't.
no, you
Mine
said
have-
tuxedo.
No, tuxedo pants should just have this weird flappy bullshit with little clips and shit. They don't have regular pants.
Yeah.
You get pocket carry.
You put most of your
Big.
shit in your coat in a tuxedo, like in a
Yep.
pocket. You don't got belts, so I mean you wear suspenders, I guess. That's probably a thing, but from my
Yeah.
experience,
it is.
much in your tuxedo pants.
I never had the carry experience.
A bunch
I never
of
had the carry
disco
experience
kicks.
that way.
You've been doing a bunch of disco kicks and splits. You don't want to be.
I just prefer to wear bow tie and cufflinks.
Dude, getting sported up like that, getting dressed to the nines, that's kind of fun. Well, at least it is for me. I enjoy it.
I have a couple sets of cufflinks, but I have no.
Shirts.
Yeah, I have no French cuff shirts.
Thrift store. But they're getting
Flintstones.
rarer
Just
and
get
rarer.
some- Just Flintstones it and put some cuffs on without a shirt.
Just wear the cuffs.
Flintstones just wear cuffs.
Because
And
I
a bow
would
tie.
love to wear my Mickey Mouse cufflinks.
Do it, dude.
Awesome.
Come on, like some Amazon import shirt that's got French cuffs on it can't be more than like $20 or something like that, man.
Yeah, you can just buy shirts that have that kind of cuff instead of a button, or you can just pop the button out and then there you go,
Yep.
Flip over.
holes in it.
You can make them. Yeah, I never thought about making them homemade like that.
Sewing
Yeah.
machines, if they're more than like $200, they're gonna have a button and maybe a thing you put on there and like a button that you push and it just makes a buttonhole. Blah 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 blah, and there's a buttonhole in the shirt.
Come again with that. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, like the robot does it.
It's a technical term.
That means the robot does all the work right there.
Sergeant Joe Smith said Mouseman puts on his black leather pants, becomes Dom afterward. I've never worn leather pants. Partly because I have very large thighs. I have Samoan thighs. So it's not probably be hard to find ones that fit and look good.
I had leather pants in the mid '90s, and all I can say is they're durable, but they're hot as hell, ridiculously so.
There's a reason you wear chaps and not leather pants.
You're right. I did it for fashion, not for
we
function.
skin graft? Can we skin graft 2 Live Moo to make custom leather pants for DM Fuss?
It puts the lotion in the basket or it gets the hose again. X Adam 1. Star Wars themed cufflinks aren't fancy. That makes me want to go find some Star Wars cufflinks now.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, thank you for the Beastie Boys reference
So,
earlier.
are you going for the
So
the R2D2 head for Star Wars movies things, or is it the Death Star, or something that's more different? Not that not a round shape.
Like the Rebel emblem
Oh, I see what you're going for. Okay.
or C3PO, super fancy gold ones. R2 for anything silver. Oh, they're a favorite. Darth Vader cufflinks would be pretty boss. And we haven't talked about buttons on formal French cuff shirts where you have buttons that you put on too. They're not sewn on. And you could use
What
those sometimes.
what about lapel pins?
I'd rather go with tie tack than lapel pin, man. honestly. Stick pins are kind of out. If you were doing that, if you were pimping out in the 70s and into the 80s, yes, but otherwise, no.
But what if it was like 1911 lapel pins?
Well, I mean, to each their own sort of deal. Why not? You know, some those kind of things in those outfits can definitely spark conversation or attention. And we're talking about Star Wars cufflinks. Hell yeah, someone's going to notice that and be like, dude, I like those. Same kind of thing, I would imagine.
I have a 2mm pinfire firing gun that is cufflinks and also a tie-tack. I have another one that's a tie-tack. Wait, I have a tie-tack that's a noisemaker and a cufflink that is a gun that shoots shot.
2mm pinfire or rimfire? What'd you say?
2mm pinfire, and you can put a
Gotcha.
2mm shot in there, and it'll shoot that and pop a hole in a tin can like a soda can. So it's a working gun, 2mm pinfire. Pinfire means it's antique combustion, so it's not regulated as a firearm. Essentially, it's a black powder, and they used to be in the 60s. You could just go get them at the place, I guess, like the drugstore or someplace, and now they're fairly expensive.
I have one of those rounds, a 2mm round, but I thought that they were like 22, like rimfires. I didn't know that they were pin. But that thing it's little bitty. I mean, Jesus, 2mm is tiny. It's so cute.
Well, they cost as much as a regular gun, and they're super fragile, so you wouldn't really want to carry them around. Maybe for like a wedding or something, you'd wear them.
What about these? Add
Oh wow,
Nuts.
yeah.
because it's not, it's not the Darth Vader head. It's something a little different.
You're right. What's the? It's really small on my screen. I can see the AT-AT, but what's the second one below it?
That's just the other side of the tie tack is the
Oh, okay.
rebel. Is the rebel or right? No, the Empire's logo.
The Imperial gear.
So
It's
I just
inferior.
found lapel pin that is the Millennium Falcon.
Ooh, don't you dare.
That'd be kind of sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even really that big of a Star Wars nerd or anything, but like that'd be pretty sweet.
Jealous.
So, tie tack or tie clip? Tie pin or tie clip?
Pin.
Yeah, I
prefer
go
clip.
pin too.
Clip.
Really?
I don't like poking a hole in my tie.
I like being able to
Same.
kill things. I like being able to kill things with the thing I gotta wear.
I like to be able to torture it with the
Responsibly.
clip.
Oh, sorry, yeah, responsibly.
I have both, but I almost never wore them. It's more like stuff you keep. Like, how many of us have stuff in the top drawer like that we don't use? Like a pair of cufflinks or a stick pin or something like that.
Well, if
Yeah.
I wear a tie, then I wear a tie clip. I don't wear a tie very often anymore.
See, I'm
Yes.
into skinny tie. Go ahead, sorry.
Vanessa Kitty's out there and Roy Munson.
What happens if
I-
you're wearing a tie and now all of a sudden you're leaning over a wood chipper or a really powerful paper shredder? Then it just seems like a recipe for danger.
Well, that's
Well,
what
Clip-on
that's not
tie or a
responsible.
real tie? Which is it? Do you
We also
tie a
talk
real
about the same-
tie?
You got to say it.
I do.
Real
I
tie.
have all real ties. I
Yep.
had a clip on when I was a kid, but
Mhm.
one of the tricks, if you have ties, you can leave them tied. All
No doubt.
mine are tied and hang on a coat hanger.
Ugh, no
You'd
kidding.
be
So-
amazed how many adults nowadays don't know how to tie a tie.
You should wear a slip-on though, or whatever they call it, a clip-on
Clip on.
What are you winning by wearing a regular tie and then somebody come up and yank your head all around? I would wear a clip on anytime I had an option.
Yeah, but
So
then
clip on is a more responsible option.
how can you
Yes.
strangle them?
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. So what? You lose one thing, but it's usually you got something made out of freaking silk tied around your neck, either silk or nylon. And bad guys aren't dumb; they know that.
You know,
So-
except for the goofy, like psychedelic late '60s, early '70s ties that I, run across in thrift stores every once in a while. I'm really big into '50s ties, like super skinnies, and so that's why I prefer the tacks rather than the clips, because the clips are pretty much universally wider than the tie itself for me. But leaving it tied, yeah, good tip.
Yeah, well, we live in Arizona, so you're not talking about bolos.
Mm. I only have one, Lolo.
I can't.
What about
ever
you,
find one
barbecue?
I can't ever find one that I like. They all look
What about the
cheesy.
simple horseshoe? Simple horseshoe, man. Come on. Christmas present.
You should get a chicken turkey leg or also a pork chop, something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And this is 2023. Somebody could 3D print it, and nowadays you can, what is that called? You can electroplate on the 3D print, so you can get whatever you want, electroplate it to look metal. And
That's what I need is Gizzard Gary lapel pins. That would look cool.
Oh, I totally rock that gizzard.
lapel pins? What are you talking about?
We could get those made.
You just mean like
You'd use them for-
and-
You
You
can use
mean
them
like,
for hat pins. You could use them for lapel pins.
so
They
you're
also
talking
work
like
for tie pins.
an enameled pin.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Pin back. I mean, that's the catch-all
Pins
term
are-
for those.
Pins
Pin
are
back.
fine. They usually cost about the same as patches, FYI. And then the problem with them is the backing. So now they're definitely not going shipped as a flat thing like a sticker. You can sometimes get away with putting some patches into a thin envelope, but that's why I ship bubble wrap. But essentially, you're going to have to jump up to a bubble wrap like what I do if you're using tie tack or pins because of that backing. So that's why I've never explored them. But yeah, you can get them. Well, they're just like anything. You get like 100 or more, and they're economical.
And if I had matching ties to go with them too, matching tie and handkerchief. Oh, the
Here's a
Gizzard
bolo
Gary
tie.
class gift pack. Hell
This is
yeah.
one I would like to wear.
What is it? Can you blow it up a little bit?
octopi.
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Well, hold on a second. Why are you like secret society there with that octopus?
It's just cool looking.
You're in
Right
Leviathan.
Yeah, I can't really blow it up any bigger.
I got you.
Right click and open a new window, and then you
It
can
looks
do
like
whatever
a
you want with it.
spider that's been on a hot
Oh.
plate.
Curled up. Yeah, I get you.
That's Amazon. You can right click, open in a new window if it'll let you, and then
Oh,
do
yeah,
whatever
I
you want.
did open a window, but I'm not sharing the window I opened. Hang on. Give me a second here.
And what like cartoon or comic book or whatever? Because originally the octopus, like on maps and stuff, was like the spread of communism or Russia or whatever kind of thing. Oh, there you go. That's really cool. But like, what? Anybody vibe that? Like a comic or cartoon or something, where their symbol is an octopus?
No.
Damn it.
Greece, maybe.
Sorry.
It has to be some island nation to have an octopus.
Spectre.
Is it Spectre? Okay,
It has to be something
That's what I
evil.
that's what I was looking for. Yeah.
He's an octopus.
Just for everybody that's joined us, welcome to the menswear chat.
Boxers, boxer briefs, free ball, round the horn.
Boxers.
Gary,
And boxer briefs.
right on. G-Webs.
I take like a 14-foot long piece of silk and wrap it up like a judo diaper thing.
Barbecue.
Why was tucking it not an option? No, I have to definitely go with boxer briefs. I like my junk to stay put. That way I don't sit on it.
They're super comfortable.
If
You get it.
I wear them, I'm boxer briefs too.
You get a boy that decides to wander, and you go sit down, not know it. That just ruins your whole day.
No doubt.
X Adam 1 says commando.
You don't do
Yeah,
nut
that's my style.
This
You don't
beast
do-
can't be tamed.
You don't
It's an
do
all right
that.
movie.
You don't do nut muscles or whatever to strengthen your nut muscles so that you can move your nuts around really well.
It's like
The hell?
it's like what was just stated. The beast can't be tamed.
Yeah, Fast was laughing
Think
at that.
about
What the?
think about doing shoulder scrunches, except put your nuts out.
They come
What
in
the
like
hell?
They come in like wrecking balls.
Yeah, do your balls hang low? Can you drag them in the snow? Time in, not time in the boat.
How low can you go?
I can limbo pretty low.
And X Adam, I show the pictures here in just a minute that you sent in.
Oh, thank God. I was thinking, man, this chat's gonna really go off the rails. We're talking about nuts.
Okay, well, before we close out the menswear thing, leather shoes for these more formal outfits, laces or slip-ons? Barbecue.
Laces.
Oh, awesome. Laces, right on. Barbecue.
I'm not picky. The first pair that I found were actually pointed shoes with laces. Like I said, I got to wear those twice, and then they blew apart. Which, whatever, it was $2. Then the second pair I found were slip-ons, and I don't mind them.
What about you, Gary?
Fat people don't tie shoelaces.
All right. G-Webs.
Gary's
What
like
about tall
Velcro.
people?
No,
G-Webs.
no.
Wait, what's the question?
Dress shoes, lace or slip-on?
Oh, I don't own them, I guess. So I don't. I'm trying to remember. The only thing I've got is whatever shoes they gave us for our Class A's, and I've just used those my whole life.
Those are lace.
I guess those are laces.
Laces. Yep, they are. Patent leather's pretty damn cool too. I like
Here are the
square
shoes
toe.
They're
I
not-
wear
they're
every
not
day.
shiny
These are
anymore.
not Velcro.
I wasn't in a unit that had to have them all stupid shiny, so they're clean or whatever, but they're not
Oh, okay.
On
dirty
tennis
shoes or
but
like
they're
a
not
Marines or something.
Velcro.
Not
I
that
do
old
not
yet,
wear
Gizzard?
old man shoes. Huh? I do not wear Velcro. I do not wear old man shoes. But they
Is
are
that-
slip-ons.
We need to get Snob a pair of Velcro shoes since he's a grandpa now.
Slip-ons are the Velcro of 2023.
Wait,
Whatever.
Here's why
Is that-
Velcro will be and is always the best shoe because of fucking Terminator. I rest my case.
I'll be back.
what about those
Yeah,
self-lacing ones from Back to the Future?
Nope.
See,
Velcro.
again, I go. You're talking about closures and stuff like that on shoes. Again, I go retro. My ties might be from the 50s, but my shoes I like from the 40s. They're hard to find, but a lot of like Florsheim and a couple other companies through the 60s produced them. Square toe with the buckle that goes over on the side. So it's essentially a slip-on, but kind of looks like it's not.
Like a pilgrim shoe.
Yeah, well, not centered. The buckle's not centered up. It's off to the side, man. Come on, we're like a
That's
century or two
literally
afterwards.
My
Popped into your
pair of
head?
shoes now is.
Center buckle?
No. The buckle's
Okay.
off to the
He's in
side.
Pennsylvania. He's got Amish shoes on.
His hat
Yeah,
has a
I'm
buckle
saying,
on it,
like-
too.
Massachusetts Shoe Company.
Probably
Quakers, eh?
wingtips.
X Adam wants a slip on, very clean look. Larry, slip ons grew on me after a while. That's because you got to wash them. They'll grow on you. And Sergeant Joe Smith said, I wear sandals so I don't have to try and tie shoes.
I could go get my Hey Dudes out of the other room and put them on if you really want to go comfy.
I wore Birkenstocks for like 2 decades, and you can run in Birkenstocks. You can run out of them too.
You can run in Hey Dudes too.
You right? You right?
A croc or something. Is that hey dude like a croc?
It's just a crushable, super soft shoe with a rubber sole.
In terms
One of
of
them one's made out of
fad.
net. Is it made out of net?
I'll show you. Just a minute here.
G-Webs, I had a pair of those. The
Are
black
those
ones,
work?
the mesh ones. Yeah.
Are they real? I've seen
Yeah,
the
yeah.
commercials. They step on nails and shit, and they step on them, and nothing, and they don't crush. And
Oh,
is that all real?
that I don't know. That I don't know.
There's this one where they step on the nails. There's like a bed of nails or something. They step on them, and then they take a hammer and smash on the top of their shoe. So, like, if either side is going to fail, they're going to get smashed or a nail in it, and it didn't do anything to them. Of course, it's a commercial, so you didn't expect it to.
Hmm.
But I've been
Interesting.
curious. I'm not going to pay money for those shoes, and I don't want somebody's used shoes, so I don't know if I'll ever get them. Those are fucking moccasins, dude. You should have just said they're moccasins. Those are deck shoes. That's what snobby people on boats used to wear.
Oh, when boat shoes were a thing, I remember that era. Never had them. Wanted them.
Well, that's what I think people still wear them on boats.
Well, those are a little different than the boat shoes.
They're super lightweight too. They weigh nothing.
Yeah, they're boat shoes, dude. Welcome to being a boat snob. You got
Well, I
these
think
from
you got it
Snob,
more
right?
right when you.
He wears them on his
But
boat.
I think you're more accurate when you said moccasin because it is sort of a moccasin style.
Well, it's a moccasin
Sure.
cut, but I'm saying that is in the materials to make it a boat shoe, so it's non-slip and it dries out right away.
Yeah, you can wash these.
Yeah.
They're totally washable.
How much
I
are
have
they?
a pair of those mesh shoes you were talking about, DJ.
How much are they? I don't remember. $30, $40.
All right, they're not like $8. I like $8.
No. They're not cheap.
I don't like paying more than $8 for my shoes.
These are
Yeah,
trendy.
the Adidas Cloud forms that they're doing now, they are like ounces light. They are so super light. And I don't know if you guys have noticed that trend. Like when waffle soles started to be a thing, if you are old enough to remember that, now they're so exaggerated. Like they're so thick and they go outside of the body of the shoe. So like when I put these on, I was just like, I need to see what's up with this. It's kind of like walking on marshmallows. It's really super comfortable to have light
Hey.
shoes. I did not even think about it
Be mean to
before.
her.
Hmm?
Don't be mean to her.
Mhm.
Marshmallow.
Stepping on my dog.
Oh, my bad. Disconnect.
Larry's asking hat or no hat. If so, what type of hat?
Always wear a hat.
Always wear a
Always
hat.
a hat.
If you're a chump to whoever's walking in the sun behind you, you have to wear a hat. Otherwise, you're a chump.
I
Now,
do.
what about
wear,
outside of?
I wear a ball cap. I've got many different ball caps. That anytime I go outside, I wear a hat so I can hide my shame from God.
How many ball caps do you have? I have about 50.
I don't
Yeah.
quite have that many. I've got 6, 7, 8.
I'm not
9,
joking either.
10.
Nor am I.
Duffel bag of them from when I was a kid. I don't think I've thrown them away. So somewhere I have a duffel bag of fucking hats, I think.
Got about 15, but some of those I don't wear. I
They're all
just
going to be
have.
from the 80s, too. They're probably worth a fortune now. The kids like that shit.
There's one. I need to take off the ball cap. This one. This pork pie is one of my favorites. Like that. Okay. Then you got you got the apple caps, slouchers. Then you got the
That's a newsboy cap.
driving caps like that. Then you go with something light like that in the fedora style that you can tip down.
That's
Then you got your summer weight paper straw.
That's just
Then you have your fall weight light felt beavers like that. And then I got my winter one. It's really thick, short brim.
that.
So like I
second to the
decided,
last
now
one,
get me off the damn screen.
The second to
Um,
the last one.
I did. I decided to go.
To a Gunrider hat because they all wear that one.
I didn't have my headphones on. What'd you say?
Your second to the last one there is your I'm a 2A Gunrider at some event because they all fucking wear that same fucking hat, dude.
Really? All right.
Every single
like
one
it-
of them, like 8 of them that all wear that same hat.
Right on. It's like a couple of years ago because my hair is thinning and ball caps. This is kind of like, that's more of a thing of youth. I mean, I definitely have one. I was wearing the one that Brooke sent me. I had Ruger on. I had Hornady on. I do love ball caps, but taking that adult step away from them, people compliment my hats or comment on my hats all the damn time.
Well, that's
And I
'cause
gotta
nobody wears
tell you-
hats anymore. So if you
Yeah.
wear a hat that's out of the norm, the people either going to comment on it or they're going to remember you're that guy with the hat out of the norm. So if you want to not be the hat out of the norm, then just wear the same hat as everybody else is wearing, which is a baseball cap. Backwards.
I follow. Oh, wait, don't get barbecue started on backwards caps. Barbecue?
Oh, well, Texans and other people are weird about that, but that's their glitch. They can't push that on other people.
That's to protect their rednecks.
Ouch.
Sergeant Joe Smith. Only time I wear a hat. It's a military style. X Adam
Then
wants
it's a
it.
cover.
Top hats. Top hat trumps all hats, like Monopoly guy.
I don't have one of those. Oh my god. I have a Homburg. I have a couple of other formal hats, but I do not have a top hat.
Do you have
Damn
a bowler? Do you have a bowler?
Yes.
Yeah.
So whenever I see somebody with a backwards hat, I always ask them, "Are you a catcher?" And I'll be told
course.
no, or I'll ask them if they're a sniper, and normally they say no. If I
Yeah.
ever see anybody with a hat on sideways, I ask them if their head's crooked.
Whatever. So, what if the sun's out in the house? Then you got to wear it on normal. Like you wear that brim because of the sun. If the sun ain't there,
Exactly.
you fucking turn it around. If you're inside, you turn it around. If you're inside a building, turn it around. If it's not
Wear a
sunny-
beanie.
Well, if you're
What about
inside,
beret?
Well,
you're
no,
inside,
want it.
you-
if you're
you
walking
should
in
not
and
have your-
outside.
shouldn't have your cover on if you're inside.
You're right. If
Correct.
it's your uniform, but it's not my uniform, and I want to wear my hat, and I'm not going to put my hat down.
If it's my house and my head's cold, I'm gonna wear a hat.
Yeah,
As
exactly.
for,
Cat don't care.
as for the
Just
beret,
wear the cap.
only if it's raspberry.
There you go.
Larry said I've got 10 or 12 at any given time. Most are Chief ball caps.
At least
a
he's got
Chiefs
good
fan.
taste.
But
Right.
then I
Chiefs
got
Kingdom, baby.
Let me show what X Adam 1 sent in before I forget.
Wouldn't it be more culturally sensitive to call them the chefs now and just change them to a chef?
Great googly moogly.
Oh my god. Yes.
This is his SIG P365 XL with the Icarus frame.
Flew too close to the sun.
Is there snow on the ground there?
I think it's a bed sheet.
Oh. Say, I thought he was in the Vegas area. Why the heck are they getting
There's-
snow? That's pretty. I like that.
I do like the XL. I haven't shot the regular 365, but I did shoot the XL, and I kind of liked it.
I own
I-
them both.
What's the point of that slot in the front of the trigger guard? Save weight, allow for airflow.
I didn't see it.
It's a massive slot in the front of the trigger guard.
Here,
We
Let me
just
bring
did
it up
that to make
again.
him put it on a screen again. It worked. Ooh.
for aerodynamics.
So you're walking along, and there's a chopstick sitting out, and you're walking along, and that chopstick goes right through there, pushes your finger, which then pushes the trigger. And how are you going to explain that?
There's no dingus on that trigger.
And then he's got a shotgun he sent a picture of.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Let me see if I can embiggen this a little bit here.
I saw that the other night on my show.
Who needs two barrels? I cannot believe we're selling firearms with
This
two
is
barrels.
rerun Gorn, man.
Gosh.
I like it.
It's a nice shotgun.
I would like to have an over-under.
Yeah, me too.
I had one for a long time. They're nice when you're shooting them, but the rest of the time, they just sit there.
Well, it would just sit there, but I still would like to have one. But that's
I
on a
like
long.
shooting them, but I don't know. I didn't like hunting with it. I don't know why. It was too much to carry around hunting with me, so I didn't take it with that much. I tried, but I didn't like it.
And it's a Yildiz 12 gauge.
I had a Bakail, I think they call them, from Russia, from Tula factory in Russia, and for a while, I guess they were a competitor to some of the more fancy ones, so they were imported by Remington or something, and it was great for shooting sport. Shooting. We never shot trap. We always shoot skeet or else 5 stand, and it was fast. Like you could move it around and everything. But I just hated it. I don't know, I just didn't like carrying it in the field. I do not like carrying. I liked carrying my 870, like my pump. I did not like carrying the double barrel. It just seemed, I don't know, just awkward.
I've got
Yeah,
a Savage Model 24V. Pretty sure it's a 24V. There's a bunch of submodels in the Model 24, but this particular one is 30-30 over 20.
That's cool.
That's totally different. Yeah.
Combos. Yeah, combos are cool too.
Kicks like a freaking mule. Oh my god, that gun hurts. And I feel like I was saying that because you're like 20 gauge, 30-30, really? That gun just packs a wallop for some reason.
Because there's no action. You know that. There's nothing to pull any of the energy. It's all going straight.
I realize that, but still, you think 30-30, 20 gauge, like, no big deal. Like, I've shot single shot 10 gauge that didn't hurt as much as that gun.
What recoil? I wonder what's up with the recoil impulse though.
Probably the angle.
Good possibility. I don't think I ever really thought about the angle. Good possibility.
I don't know. 10s kick the crap out of you. 10s feel like somebody came up and punched you really hard.
Like who even shoots 10? It just kind of seems like now.
Oh,
like
if I
turkey?
had one, I would shoot it all the
distance.
time.
If you want distance and turkey, do you need 10? I don't know. Maybe deers or some shit. I don't know. But I think
Waterfowl.
Oh, okay. I never think about shooting up.
Yep. A lot of waterfowl shooters, especially around here. Most of them use 12 gauge just because it's so readily available, but
Ubiquitous,
I know few people that like to get the 10 gauge because around here, especially with waterfowl, well, you got to shoot steel shot.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
For
And
waterfowl.
steel is lighter, so you need more of it or bigger of it, and 10 gives you more and bigger of it.
Yep. Yeah, they were
Like they
finding
should
that
make something ceramic or something. I think it's a factor of metals have been plentiful and demand has not taken up enough of them. There haven't been other things that needed the metal. It was, filthy metals that nobody was using for anything else anyway.
Yep.
And I think there's just been no innovation. But I can't imagine why we can't make dense ceramic droplets that are way cooler than stupid metal.
You can. I'm surprised that this panel or anybody out in the text chat doesn't know somebody who's done that. It's like if
Nobody
they have
tries that shit.
go for
Nobody
it.
tries that shit.
Well, there's no reason not to.
I mean, I don't
Well,
know.
because as
Not
soon
individuals.
as you introduce the idea of using anything but lead, people just lose their mind.
They freak the fuck out. Like, what if it turned into? You ever shot or have you ever seen flechettes
Yeah.
from Nam? You used to be able to get them everywhere because they would fill some kind of bombs in Nam with them, and now they're harder to get. But those little flechettes from Nam, you could put them into shotguns, and a lot of them got shot up that way. But something like that form factor, little, I don't know what to call them, cylinders, needles of maybe.
Yeah.
So now they've got some mass, and maybe they got ballistics, and maybe you're shooting 12 needles at something, oh no, it's different than balls, that you're random, maybe now you're shooting 5 little arrows or something that I don't know why we're afraid to think about stuff like that. Well, it's not that we're afraid, just that nobody bothers because why? You've already got this other thing and everybody's used to it.
Well, I fix it if it ain't broke.
Well, because I'd rather be riding along the cusp of innovation than being a stodgy old fucker.
I'm not. I was saying that as in the people that are set in their ways and just like, hey,
I got you.
I want my lead ammo and I don't care what the heck the risk is to the environment or the wildlife or anything else. I just lead ammo is what it's always been, and that's what it always needs to be. And if you make me switch to steel or something, I'm gonna shoot out my barrels, just gonna tear them up, blah blah blah, and
Wesley's saying no video, chat, and audio. Okay. I know I kind of blanked out here for a second.
I brought up YouTube. I'm seeing the crawl go across the screen anyway. Of course, nobody has their cameras on, so I can't.
Yeah, I turned mine off because I was afraid it was going to drop me.
It looks like to me it's working.
Yeah, I got full screen, everything available, audio okay on it. Yeah.
It's like
So
Guns
we got a
N'
puppy and a
Roses.
wall.
Yeah, the G-Web's got his camera on. Yep, it's working just fine. There's barbecue.
oh, you can actually see me. I thought it was like
Puppy.
shooting over my head.
Puppy
It is over your head.
Ceiling.
There it is.
Right?
We got
With a new
the
computer
blinding.
monitor. With a new computer monitor, it's super high because I got a 32-inch monitor now, and
Nobody needs that big of a monitor.
sure I do.
It looks like you're broadcasting from a hole or something. Like you're like 6 feet
Right?
under looking up. Classic.
Let's say I like my assault monitor. Darn it.
I wish I had a puppy to show.
DJ,
Yes, sir.
is there anything you'd like to plug?
Pardon. Yes. On Saturday evenings on the A Great Start Shooting School channel, there's a discussion about mental health and awareness. Please check that out. This show happens, the Saturdays that this happens, Wednesday if it comes to be in the future, show up. Not only the Mouse Party, but the Overnight are great programs. Hillbilly Up has a conversation on Saturday nights that's usually pretty damn rocking. A good place to have a good time and do some smiles and keep it light. Sunday early evening on the She Fires channel, she's beginning to host fireside chats, and those are casual place to gather. Good group of people hanging out there. Till I see everybody else again. Be safe, have fun, carry your guns, raw.
Barbecue? Anything you want to plug?
Had a pretty good conversation tonight, I guess, before we opened up, or before I killed it and came over to your show, because there's no way I was going to cork you. Well, cork G, but not Mr. D and Foss. But no, really got nothing, I guess. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you for showing up. Gary, anything you
Yo.
want to plug?
Oh, sure. Why not? Foul Territory, Friday nights, 9 p.m. Central time zone. The only time zone that matters. Should have some videos coming out this week, too. So look for that. Thanks for having me. Great show, as always, sir.
And GearWebsites.com for all your 2A related t-shirts, patches, stickers, books, web consulting, technology consulting, logo design, you name it, he'll design it or consult it. GearWebsites.com. Can you drop a link for that, Gary?
I can.
Thank you. Anything you want to plug, G-Webs?
Actually, yeah, I'd like to plug this. And then I would also like to plug that. Did you know that if you were buying something over on Amazon, you could go over to Gizzard Gary's website, gizzardgary.com, if I understand it correctly. And he's got a link there to his Amazon store. If you're buying something anyway, it's going to cost you the same amount of money. Or Gizzard might even have a link to a sale version of it. But it's going to cost you the same one way or another. If you go to Gizzard's store first, then it helps him out. So think about that when you're buying something on the largest store on the internet. Thanks for hosting.
And thanks to everybody that was out there in the live chat, chatting her up. And those who might have been watching and didn't say anything, I appreciate you too. Don't be afraid to say hey, to let me know you're out there. If you watch this in a replay, once again, leave a comment. Anything we talk about, agree with, disagree. If you wear a watch, if you wear pants, let me know. I always appreciate the comments, and I do always read them. And other than that, hope everybody has a good rest of the night and go do something good. One.